I text Tony.
Where's Dana?
Hey, Mike,
Yes,
while we're
ma'am.
waiting, you want me to send you your check to the office or to your house?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
I'll
matter.
send it to-
Whatever's easiest for you.
I'll send it to the office along with the stubs. And then my
Yeah.
other question is, does Amira go to Lewiston or Bangor?
Lewiston, I asked her to change the address on
Oh,
that. But
well,
if
it didn't get changed.
Okay,
So-
if it goes to Bangor, it's no big deal. She's
No,
changed.
I'll just change it. I'll just put it in a different, once I find it, I'll put it in a different place. Envelope and just mail it to the right one. That's not a
If
big
you
deal.
just want to have somebody drop that off like you did last time, throw it in the front seat of my truck, I can take care of all that stuff.
You can. Well, I probably let you then.
I'll call. I'm going to mute myself and call Tony. Who else are we missing?
Bob.
Dana's on.
6,
Oh,
7.
Bob.
Oh, Bob.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kathy.
Yeah.
Cool. Sit down, Sophie.
We ready?
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Tony, I think we're waiting on Bob and Kathy.
George.
Bob's coming on right now, and I'm calling Kathy.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, I'm sorry about
Back.
that. Thank you. I hope I didn't hold everybody up.
We're waiting on Kathy now. But we'll move ahead if we can get in touch with her. Get this wrapped up. John, you're going to give us language for both of these approvals, right?
Yeah, I'm happy to make the suggested form of the motion. I know we're waiting. The one thing regarding the extension is just knowing what date that the board may want to use. The next meeting is July 22nd. On the first extension, we used April 30th because it was after this regular meeting. I don't know if that's the date you want to extend to or not, but that
I have
would
a
have
question
some.
for Mike regarding that, so we'll wait.
Yeah.
Get him back here.
Yeah, John, you might want to cut it at the end date of the term sheet for the takeout loan by the bondholders.
You have to speak up there a little bit, George.
Okay, just saying that there we date of June 15th in as the date by which that the bondholders would take out the MRC loan, because I
Right.
don't think you'd want to go beyond that.
That makes sense.
So I think we have everybody, because I think Irene's on the phone with you, right, Mike? Yeah, so I think we're good. All right. So John, do we need to call the roll again to come back in or anything like that, given this whole format?
No, we're fine in that respect.
All right, so we're back in regular session.
Yeah,
And
we're back in regular session.
we have a couple items that we wanted to take up, the first of which is the extension, a potential extension regarding the, whatever the condition was that Coastal was supposed to have met by April 30th. And Mike, we need to figure out what the date is through which we want to extend it. George is suggesting and not go past June 15th, since that's tied to the bond term sheet. But I also just sort of wondered in general, can you refresh our memory as to what it is that what condition they were waiting for them to meet, and what they're going to do in order to meet that condition, or what's happening so that they will be able to meet that condition?
Yeah, these were the conditions, and George, I'm gonna let you jump in here too. These were the conditions that we noted when we did the performance test with them. This was the items that they had to have completed by a certain time frame, so that they could go into commercial operation. I mean, by all means, they did show us the tonnage, and they did show us that they could operate with the tonnage, but there was certain things that had to be done, like the compactor be put in place, and other items that they had to complete. And one of them was also beneficial use permit at that time. So there was, I believe it was about a handful of items that they had to have. The key one being, I believe, the beneficial use permit. George, was there any other key ones than the
Actually, I believe worded as either the beneficial use permit or a purchaser.
Yes.
So that both were, but they don't have either in the case of the pulp at this point. So I think, the extension's required for that reason. We'd also talked about some additional requirements, including the operation of the compactor, including the and if you will, and the operation of the fine system, demonstration of the operation of the fines processing system, which they have not strictly done yet.
Right. I mean, I think the compactor and the fines will be completed. The permits, I did get that email from David Burns while we were on this. The permits, I feel will be completed. I don't know about the buyer. So Jonathan, what's the advantage? Like June 15th, they don't pay us back. That's one default. Would we be better having two defaults? Or, because I was thinking at first July 1st to, so we could tie it into the next meeting. But I mean, I think we're probably going to end up meeting in May, having a special meeting, because we'll know where hopefully where operators are and all that type of stuff. But what would be the advantage? Is there any advantages of going before the loan payback, or disadvantages?
I mean, the only ones that come to mind, in that respect would be, this is something that, technically and reality speaking, is this could result in a default, an event of default. So having, that's one of the things that MRC has that they need the bondholders and Coastal to agree to, if you will. So having a shorter time period makes some sense in that respect, but not so short that if you wouldn't want to have come back from a practical matter and have to do another extension. So I think the June 15th date has some logic to it, because that is one of the recognized maturity dates as part of MRC's loan. Of course, the maturity date could be earlier if the bridge loan closes. But the practical reality is if we approach whatever date is selected and they haven't quite met it yet, there just might be a need to consider further extending it.
Okay. Then Karen, I'm fine with the June 15th, because regardless on the Yeah, I'm fine with the June 15th. I think that, George, is it a buy, when you say it has to be the permit or a buyer, it doesn't have to be both, right?
Says either capacity to produce, either capacity to produce pulp that has been approved by DEP for beneficial use, or to produce and sell such cellulose pulp for beneficial outside Maine. So it's an either or.
Okay,
I mean, if you read the language, there's an argument that it also requires completion of a test burn at a facility in Maine, which is probably not going to be done by June 15th, but might be. But it's fuzzy enough that I think we can go forward either way.
I think June 15th is doable. I do, because all that, as long as that's either or, I don't know if Cascade will be on board by June 15th, but I think we'll have the permit. That would be my only concern of
Yeah.
that completed.
I mean, I think we'll have a basis for saying it's complete once the.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, June 15th sounds good to me. I'd like to keep their feet to the fire a little bit.
Yes.
So with that,
So-
John, do you have a suggested motion that you might have somebody read for
Yeah,
some?
so suggested form, I guess, would be move that the board approve a second extension regarding the integral capabilities for the performance test protocol to and until June 15th, 2020. And further, that President Karen Vassell and Vice President Tony Smith, acting singly, are hereby authorized to execute and deliver this second extension and take any further or necessary appropriate actions to implement this vote.
So moved.
Second.
Great, we have a motion and a second. Any further comments or discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
Bob,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Irene,
Yes.
Dana,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
Sophie,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes,
unanimous.
thank you, John. The second item was regarding authorizing perhaps one of the officers to be able to sign any potential documents that might come up in regards or needed to facilitate the bondholder closing. Is that what it was regarding?
Mhm.
Maybe you can run us through that, John.
Yeah, my suggestion here is, anticipating that the bridge loan will be closing fairly soon. What I'm anticipating, there probably will be at least one document that will require an MRC signature. The last time that there was a financing event, I think it was an acknowledgement of an amendment to the leasehold mortgage. So I'm anticipating there'll be a kind of a second amendment to the leasehold mortgage that would just simply require an acknowledgement signature from MRC. I can't guarantee that's the only document. There might be another acknowledgement. I'm not absolutely certain that that's something that's part of their kind of final stage process as they approach it. But I thought it would be prudent if one or a couple officers were authorized to execute those types of documents to help facilitate the bridge loan closing, which in turn helps facilitate payment of MRC for its short-term loan.
Is
Karen,
that a form of motion?
is this indeed, excuse me, is this indeed a bridge loan? Our $1.5 million was referred to as a bridge loan to something else. Is this a bridge loan in fiberite vernacular? Or is that something that we're continuing to call this loan that we are using ourselves?
We tried to call our loan the interim loan, the bondholder bridge loan, which would then get taken out in 12 months by a new equity infusion.
So it is a bridge loan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All moved.
Second.
Second.
And if before we, I can actually suggest some precise language before
Ugh.
we do a vote. Sorry about that.
Okay, please do.
Yeah, I just move that. Just move that the board authorize President Karen Purcell and Vice President Tony Smith acting singly to execute and deliver acknowledgements regarding any amendments to leasehold mortgage, as well as any other necessary appropriate documents of half of MRC in connection with the bridge loan financial closing associated with the coastal resources of Maine facility, Hamden facility.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right. Thank you, John. Any other comments or questions? Call for a vote.
Bob,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Irene,
Yes.
Dana,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
Sophie,
Yes.
and Karen.
Yes. Thanks, John.
Wow, you guys nailed that one.
Thank you.
So with that, we had no more items on the agenda other than adjournment. I did have one question, I guess, for Mike or George or somebody like that. Is there anything that's going to happen when the bondholder loan closes and we get paid back? It's just going to happen automatically at the closing?
Yeah, I'm assuming it would be very similar to our closing, where at the closing, they're got a check right to us at the closing, and we are tracking the additional 112,000 where it's at. And between the three of us, because Carl, we share, most of George and Carl share the interest now on that day, and I see the final number that we come up with, and we agree upon that. But I'm assuming that's how it's going to work, is we will see a check, and that check will be for the 1.5 million to include the interest. And if there's a difference at that point between the interest and the 112, then that amount also. So I'm assuming how that's going to work.
Hopefully it would be just a wire into the account or an ACH.
Yes, I mean, we've been very good about wires to them. Their wires are very slow, though. For some reason, our wires take like 24 hours. Theirs take like 10 days. So.
It all depends on what day you start them, Mike.
Yeah, so they gotta, theirs have to cross the border or something.
Okay.
Just to briefly elaborate, I think, yeah, it's probably just a payoff amount. It's an unsecured, so I'm not aware of any discharge or anything that needs to be signed. The only thing that comes to mind that we might return the promissory note that we're holding once the funds have cleared.
Okay.
Very good.
I would move adjournment.
I would second that.
All right. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Be
So
well,
thank-
everybody.
Thank you all for participating. This has been unique.
This has been
Yeah,
good.
it has.
Look forward to seeing you all in person again soon.
Stay
Yeah,
well.
well, bye.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Jesse. Great job.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you,
Yeah.
Jesse. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Irene.
Bye, everybody.